Brunswick Day tomorrow, so I hope you get out there, have yourselves lots of fun, and I hope you have been having fun. We're coming to you live tonight, as we always do, from St. Andrews by the Sea. Tonight, we're going to be talking about basketball by the sea, and our special guests are Joe Ticotsky and Brandon Sherrod, both from Camp Basketball by the Sea. How are you this evening, gentlemen?
Excellent.
Doing very well.
Welcome to Canada, welcome to New Brunswick, and welcome to St. Andrews, because you're both not from here.
You are correct.
You're from the great Nutmeg state of
Yes.
Connecticut.
Yes.
Well,
we're-
welcome again.
Yes. We're from
So-
New Haven, Connecticut.
New Haven, Connecticut. So what brings you to New Brunswick?
We're running a camp over at the high school at Sir James Dunn Academy, and it's a 3-day camp. It's got a session for younger, grades 5 through 8 in the mornings, and then at night for the high school ages.
And this is a basketball camp.
It is a fully basketball camp.
Basketball integrated.
Total basketball, 100%.
So you come, now, okay, so the first thing I'm going to ask you, Joe,
Sure.
is because you've been doing this for quite a few years.
This will be our third year running
Third
the
year.
camp.
So how does a man from New Haven, Connecticut, wind up in St. Andrews, New Brunswick, running a basketball camp?
I'm glad you asked. It's an interesting story. In January of 2014, I don't know if you've heard of the singer Kathleen Edwards,
I have
Canadian
not.
singer-songwriter. And I saw that she was on tour, never comes to the U.S., and she was in Fredericton at a festival they had. So I said, why not in the middle of winter, look up Fredericton on a map and see if I can go there. And I emailed the person that runs the festival and said, do you have a suggestion for maybe a one-day detour? It looks all highway. And he said, there's this little town on the water. It's a really nice town. It'll probably be dead in the winter, but it's nice for a detour. So being the basketball guy that I am, I emailed the athletic director and said, do you have any games while I'm up there for a day? And he said, we don't, but we have a practice. You're more than welcome to come help. So I trudged up there in the middle of a winter night and helped them out at their practice, and he was about to start a camp that summer. And he said, do you have any of your players or coaches that would want to come up and help us run it? So that's where I brought a couple of the female players that played for me, another coach that I knew, he knew Brandon, and that was the first, that's how the camp started.
Now, obviously, you have a history of basketball, a background. So what's your background, Joe?
I run a girls' travel basketball club, the Connecticut Starters, which was originally sponsored by Starter Sportswear 30 years ago, which they're not around anymore. And we have grades 6 through 12. It's a spring and summer travel program where we travel in New England and then in the summers, like Chicago and DC. And it's sort of tournaments where college coaches can come to look at the kids. And we used to have our own overnight basketball camp for about 25 years in Connecticut. And then that just sort of ceased to exist when numbers went a little bit lower after 25 years. And I've coached high school basketball also.
Okay, so basically you're doing that in Connecticut. You come up to New Brunswick to see one of your favorite singers. You're not stalking her or anything.
No, not at all.
There's nothing
There were
nothing
other-
untoward.
There were other people at the
I just have to keep that straight, that there was nothing weird going on. It just seems odd that you'd come all the way.
It was a whole festival.
Okay,
There were other people
so,
there. And
so I'm not, yeah, okay. So I'm
if
speaking.
that guy didn't suggest St. Andrews as a side trip, we would not be
See,
on
so
your show
this
tonight.
is what you call serendipity. That
Yes.
things,
Serendipity.
everything aligned up, and here you are. So then you come up to St. Andrews, and you just say to the local basketball high school coach, is there any games going on? He says no, but he's starting a summer camp, and one thing leads to another,
Yeah.
and then you're up
Yeah.
here.
His name is Ben Morrison. He was
Okay.
here for a year teaching, and now he's up near Moncton, I believe,
Okay.
teaching.
Now, Brandon, how do you fit into this equation? You've known
Right.
Joe
So,
for a while?
I knew a friend of Joe's, Jeremy Pringle, who was my shooting coach at the time, and Jeremy reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to work at camp in Canada? Joe reached out to me, and I said, sure, why not? It's a good way to get away from the United States. I had never been to Canada before.
Gives you a vacation.
Exactly, nice
Right.
vacation, and a nice way to give back to the community and to help out some of the kids that are working on their game here, making a connection across borders.
Now, you've got an interesting background as well, because
Sure.
you're from Yale University.
Yes.
That's a big university.
Yeah.
I've heard of two universities, Yale and Harvard.
I think you should. I think Yale's the better of
The
the
better
two.
of the two. That's what I wanted to
I'm
hear.
totally unbiased in that opinion. Totally unbiased.
Okay, so you went to Yale University, and
Right.
you graduated when?
I graduated 2016.
And
so,
what's your major?
I majored in political science.
Political science.
Yeah.
And you want to get into politics.
Yes, my goal is to become mayor of my city, Bridgeport, Connecticut. That's my
Bridgeport.
hometown.
You know,
born and
I
raised.
got to ask you guys, why does Bridgeport ring a bell? What's from there? What's from Bridgeport, Connecticut? Must be
P.T.
P.T.
Barnum.
Barnum. Maybe.
the circus,
Circus,
guy.
Yeah, that's him.
I don't think that's it, but that you know
A
what?
lot
I'll
of other things.
I'll accept that answer. I thought there's something else in Bridgeport. It'll come to me.
A lot of previous politicians there have been in jail.
You know what?
I know, that's true also.
The problem is it'll come to me like 3 weeks from now, and then it won't matter. Okay, so Bridgeport, and you want to run for mayor.
I do,
And
yep.
now, but you have another sort of interesting
Right.
sidebar story. You're not playing basketball in the States.
No, I'm playing professionally in Italy currently.
Italy.
Yep, in the second division.
So how do you get in Italy?
Had
I didn't even know they knew basketball there.
Yeah, basketball's become a really big global game,
Right.
and I think it's evidenced by the camps that we're having here in Canada and the Canadian Basketball League that one of my friends actually plays for, and so it's great to see the game kind of spreading out across the world. So there are leagues in Africa, there are leagues in Europe, in Asia, in Australia. So it's literally everywhere. And so after I finished up playing in college, I thought, why not pursue the dream of playing professional basketball abroad? And I'd had the opportunity to travel before this past year, so it made the transition a lot more comfortable for me, and I was really open to just having a new experience and playing some good ball overseas.
Now, did you ever consider playing for the NBA?
Sure.
or-
I think that's the goal for every kid growing
Right.
up. But at the current moment, that's not something that I had the
See,
opportunity to do.
if I
Yeah.
had the option, I'd go to Italy, just because
Yeah.
it's just what a cool place
Well,
to.
it's a great place.
play ball.
The food is great. The people are great. The language is beautiful. And for me personally, I think the experience is primary. The basketball is secondary, in my opinion. And being in the States would have been great, but I was very comfortable here. I knew what was going on.
Right.
And Italy was a brand new experience, and I was able to just dive headfirst into everything that I was.
And are the
going through.
players on your team mostly from the States, or are they from?
So in my
around the world?
league specifically, we have only 2 Americans per team.
Okay.
So it does add a lot of pressure to perform in different games, but all of my other teammates were Italian. I had one guy from Montenegro. There's another kid from Albania. So a lot of different players from all over the place.
So Italians on the team. So you get
Yeah.
guys like Giuseppe and Giacomo. and-
Sure. A lot of Francescos and
See, I would love
great
I'd love
folks.
to hear Francesco pass the ball, or
Yeah.
stuff like that. Those are things that
Yeah.
be fascinating to
Sure.
hear. Okay, so we are taking calls tonight, as always. The number is 1-855-529-8826. If you have any questions about basketball in general, or basketball here in St. Andrews, and a bit about this camp, because that's the next thing we're going to talk about, please call us in. We'd love to hear from you. So what is it? Okay, where are the kids coming from? You tell us about the background of the kids that are going to this camp.
Okay, a lot of them are from St. Andrews, but we also have St. Stephen, St. George, Fredericton, Deer Island, which the first time we were here, we didn't know any of these places. And one kid said he was taking a ferry here every morning, which was
Right.
amazing. And that's good, because usually in the States, there's so many more camps that typically kids don't drive more than 10 or 15 minutes to go to a camp. It's
Right.
Usually each town has their own, a coach runs it. So here we're fortunate that it's caught on a little bit, that kids are willing to travel for the camp.
And what ages and boys and girls go to
It's
the
boys
camp?
and girls together. The morning session is grades 5 through 8, although we did let a 3rd grader in, a parent requested. And then the older is 9 through 12, and there are actually a couple players that just graduated in June that still want to come to the camp, so we allow them also.
Okay, and then sort of give us an overview about what you're teaching at this camp.
Okay, that's in basketball, there's really a lot of different ways you can go with a camp. We try to keep it fun, first of all, because if it's something that the kids aren't enjoying, then it's drudgery for them in the summer.
You know, sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of like my show. If I don't keep it interesting, and usually that's the host's fault, it's drudgery. That's exactly the word that people throw at me from time to time. Watching your show's drudgery. And honestly, I don't appreciate that. I cut you off there. Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
That's fine. So we're basically trying to teach them. We try to concentrate on the offensive part of the game. A lot of camps just will do a lot of defensive drills, which in the end, it doesn't help the kid when they go out on their own. So we'll do segments on shooting, and we'll break it down from the positioning and the form and all those things, and then continue to work on it in the next 2 days after. So whatever they've learned, they could. The best thing about basketball is you can go home and practice all the things you learned. It's not like football where you need 11 players and equipment, and you could just go to a playground.
You got a net and a ball, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And then we'll also do ball handling drills. We'll do passing drills. There will be some games in there. And a lot of times we'll sort of go with how we see the talent level and what the kids are enjoying. If it looks like the eyes are getting glazed over a little bit, then we'll switch it up and go from there. But it runs pretty. And luckily, with Brandon and the other coach that came up with me, that makes it so easy for me.
And what is your part in this, Brandon?
Sure. I mean, I'm helping with some of the skill work, trying to put kids through the majority of the day, just giving them things that they can take home with them. As Joe mentioned before, the offensive part of the game is something that in America we really thrive ourselves on, and you see a lot of really amazing talents in the NBA and in college basketball alike who are very talented on the offensive end. So we're trying to work on those skills primarily, and I'm just here to provide all the drills that I've picked up over the years from college, high school, and even in the pros, and trying to give kids as many pieces as they can to become successful and possibly be in the similar position that I am.
And the kids that go are obviously really into it. They're interested. So they're, it's not like it's not a basketball town. You've got.
We're trying to change it one shot at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually because I helped in the winter coach, and the basketball level on the boys' side, it's really picked up a lot. That first year we were there, we had kids from St. John come down, and it's I think as kids get used to it and more confident, then it becomes, their sport. Even though here, which I do like, all the kids seem to be very well-rounded. In the U.S., kids are starting to specialize. So at grade 7, they stop playing 3 sports and they play year-round basketball, which injury-wise isn't good, and you get burned out 3 or 4 years down the road.
Would you say Americans' vision of sport like that is a lot more intense than what you'd see up here? It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Although hockey here, they say there's similarities here, but I sort of love, and it's not laid back here, but they just keep things in perspective.
Right.
So when games end, there aren't parents berating the kids on the ride home or anything like that. And
that you're aware of.
That we're aware of, yes. But like I said, and they're all very active. Like, I've had kids on my teams here that were speed skaters and badminton players and things like that. And it was sort of neat to see them bring, or us give them some basketball skill to add to the other things they were doing.
Now, how do the kids become aware of this camp? Obviously, you coming on the show is great, and we're glad to help you promote it, but how have they been even aware of it?
We had, when I come up in the winter, I've done some clinics at the elementary schools. The elementary school in town here, I went to St. George to do one there. So we talk about it there to try to get some of the kids interested. Some of it's word of mouth. They have a friend of theirs that's done it, or they had an older brother or sister that did it 2 years ago and then cycled out age-wise. So it's, it's sort of that. We try to get in touch with some of the people that run leagues around here. They have fundy travel leagues and things like that. And I've met other coaches while I've been up here. So it's that's how the word spreads from our end.
That's great. Now, in St. Stephen, which is a town just down the road from here, we have one of the world's oldest basketball courts. Were you aware of
I was
that?
there.
You were there.
It's upstairs.
Yeah.
There's a center there.
Yeah, there's a vocational center
Yes.
down below, and upstairs is one of the, were you aware of
I
this?
had no clue.
The
Yeah.
first court.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, it was,
It's storage room now, unfortunately.
well, we're over the course of the time that I've been here, and one of the people involved, Darren McCabe, was on our show. He also works with the Charlotte County Museum, and I know he's very active in getting people aware of it and all that. But yeah, it's apparently in relatively
Yeah,
pristine shape.
yeah.
They've never really done anything with it. It's
that's
just because Canada's kind of had an old history of basketball.
James Naismith was Canadian.
Right.
So the founder of basketball came down to Springfield, Massachusetts, which is
Right.
about an hour from where we are.
Right.
And that's where he invented the game, basically.
Yeah, and at first I think they used real baskets.
Yeah,
that's where
peach
the
baskets.
name. Yeah, that's where the
So
name
the
came from.
the game was a lot slower.
So
back
you
then.
should know that. These
I
are
didn't.
things as a professional you should be aware
I should,
of.
you know.
Of course, when you go back to Italy, you can make up all sorts of stuff.
Very
Nobody
true.
will even know.
They'll ask me all sorts of questions.
Yeah,
I
you
can
just
say whatever.
yeah, short baskets, whatever. Yeah, we used to play with square balls, whatever. No one will ever know. So how is the mix of boys and girls? A 50-50 split, or would you say?
Actually, it probably is about a 50-50 split.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, even in the States, girls basketball has really taken off recently. Up here, the University of Connecticut, which is the premier women's program, they win championships year in, year out. Their starting guard is Kia Nurse, is from Canada.
And is a strange question, but do you teach the girls differently than the boys? Is not that the information is not the same, but do you have a different way of working with them? Do they think differently? Do they have a different perception of the game?
Oh, we coach them like girls. No.
Easy.
Now,
you know what? We'll edit that right out.
I think it's based on the kid.
Right.
There are some kids that are very intense that like to be pushed, other kids that don't. I think girls do a better job keeping things in perspective.
Right.
It's not the be all end all, but when they're on the court, there really is no difference.
So it's the same both ways. Now, do they get to play a game?
Yeah, they'll play. We mix it up because the younger ages there isn't quite as much talent disparity or size disparity between boys and girls. The older age, we don't do a lot of 5-on-5 games because it's just a 2 or 3 day camp, so we're trying to teach them as much as they could skill-wise, as opposed to say, okay, here, you guys go play a game and we'll sit on the side for 10 minutes and watch.
Right. And then are you filming or videotaping any of this stuff for them?
If you guys want to.
Okay, come down. Yeah, I could be the announcer.
There you go.
Need an announcer?
We do. We need
Always.
a play-by-play guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
But there is a lot of basketball now they do, and that's something we haven't gotten into yet, where they'll videotape players just to show them their shooting form, to see what's working or what needs to be corrected. So I think but for the camp situation, we don't do that.
And how many? And I forget if I asked this, but how many kids have you got per session?
Okay, well, it's not a huge gym up there.
Right.
It's just one gym floor with 6 baskets. So for the younger session, we'll have about 25 or 30, which is pretty much the maximum.
Right.
High school, we think it'll be around 15, but those kids sometimes just show up unannounced before. They don't do the advanced work as much as the younger kids, but it'll probably be about 15 in the older
But that's
group.
pretty good.
It is,
That's
yeah.
a good number.
And it's workable for the amount of coaches we have, so it's not like a camp where there's 200 kids and
Right.
4 coaches.
Yeah,
So-
because then, so it's not a constant grind. You can sort of take time with an individual if they need certain help with certain skills,
Yes.
Right.
or you want to focus on a certain aspect with them, you can.
Sure.
That's awesome. So now, okay, so this is your 3rd year.
Yes.
And do you foresee keep doing this year after year? This is something that
it fits in well.
It's viable for you?
At one point we were thinking, do we move to a different area where there's a little bit bigger population? But I think you need to have connections wherever you are. We don't want to just be the outsider that lands here. And I've met enough people from the camp and helping out over the winters that it's really a close-knit community, and they feel comfortable with us, and we enjoy working with them. So I think for now, between people being on vacations and our basketball goes till late July. God knows where he's going to be any summer.
Right.
So I think for now it's
so Brandon's pretty much a hit and miss guy.
We've got him. He's the only one that's been here all 3 years.
Yeah, I'm the only one who's survived. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What happened to everybody else?
Salaries.
We kicked them out now.
Okay.
A couple of them got summer jobs. That's
Right.
always the big thing you're up against.
Yeah.
Is can they get off a week? And his fits in perfectly with the seasonal basketball.
And now so now what is it you're doing in the winter time? Because I met you, I believe, in January of this year.
Yep. I work out of my home in the States. I have a small business where I do hotel bookings for sports teams. It's a little more seasonal, like spring and summer, and I can do it wherever off a computer. So I come up here, and it was originally Allison Cross who coached the girls basketball team at the school. And when I came up that first year, she said, if you ever want to come up to help out for a longer period, you're more than welcome to. So the last 2 years, I've been up for about 4 or 5 weeks in November and December, and then came back a little bit in January.
Now, what do you guys think of the Toronto Raptors? Because that's our only Canadian basketball team.
Yeah, I'm a New York Knicks fan, embarrassed to say.
Why are you embarrassed?
They
shouldn't be embarrassed.
It's only been,
maybe you should.
It's only been 44 years since they won a title.
Well, look at the Red Sox. I mean, that took like a couple of thousand years, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I actually have a soft spot for Toronto. I always try to catch them when they're on TV, and I just think it's neat how a country rallies around one team, whether it's the Blue Jays, or the Raptors, and they certainly have a rabid following.
Well, I mean, and in the States, a lot of hockey teams down there, right? A lot more than are up here.
There used to be one in Connecticut, the Hartford Whalers.
The Hartford Whalers,
yeah.
That's right. What happened to them? Right?
The owner moved them to Carolina.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you have no team.
No team, minor league teams, but.
Yeah, but then you can hop over to New York. Were you a Rangers fan or Islanders or
I shouldn't admit this, but I'm not a huge hockey fan.
Hockey fan at all.
I mean, when I'm up here and there's four games on TV.
You know what? You shouldn't
night.
say that on TV. Just say, "Oh, geez." You know what? you just say, "No, I love hockey," and no one will know
I've been
about
to a
it.
Sea Dogs game. I've been to the team in St. Stephen at the.
The Aces.
Yeah, I've been to the Aces game. I've been to a high school game up the road here.
Right.
So I enjoy the sport.
Yeah, football. You guys like football? NFL?
Yeah.
What about CFL? Do you know anything about CFL?
I was up here for the Grey Cup last year, which was
were
an
you?
incredibly exciting game.
Okay.
I watched it on TV.
It's all different, right? Different downs, different ball, different everything.
It is.
Different number of play. It's completely different.
It is it's a wide open kind of game.
But basketball here is the same, right? It's the same in Canada and in the States.
Yeah, the only difference at the high school level is they used international rules, so there's a shot clock.
Sure. Yeah.
So you have 24 seconds to shoot, like in the NBA.
Right.
Where we are in high school, they don't have that, which I like the shot clock because it speeds up the game more. So we'll have games, and when I came up here to watch a boys game, and it was 102 to 87. I was like getting a headache watching it. But it was really, really exciting. And they play 40-minute games. We only play 32-minute.
Right.
But the rules are basically, it's the same kind of game.
So it's not like you have to make this major mindset change when you come up here.
Some of the rules with like when you can call it, you can't overcoach as much. Like you can't call a timeout while the game's going on. And the refs were nice enough to basically say to me, you don't know the rules, stop doing that.
Yeah.
So there's some procedural
What do you
rules.
mean I don't know the rules? Huh?
But it is a sport that basically translates to Italy where he is, the Middle East, Iceland, and South America. So that's the one thing that's good about basketball and we even tell kids that on our travel teams that you should learn the sport well enough that you can go anywhere in the world, go down to a playground and get involved in a game and feel comfortable.
Sure.
And after the camp is done, they take that with them and then they apply what they've learned. Do they come back for another season or another camp? Or is it a one-time deal?
For us, it's just a one-off. But
Okay.
there are other camps. St. Stephen's got a camp there. Some of the colleges in New Brunswick run camps. So there's ample opportunities depending on how much the kids.
So the curriculum is sort of the same year after year. It doesn't change.
For us, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
there are things we'll pick up and say, hey, when we did this last year, the kids loved it, or we tried this, didn't go over as well. But there's a base that we're going to try to teach every kid, so when they leave, there's something common they've learned.
And how many hours a day are they at the camp?
The younger camp is 3 hours. It
3
goes 9
hours.
to 12. The high schoolers is 2 hours at night. So it's a little more intense, a little more compact.
And that keeps them, there's enough going on to keep them occupied and happy and enjoy
The
it.
kids up here, I know it's an overused saying, but they're just so nice. Like
Yeah.
you never get.
Not getting into any fisticuffs?
No,
or-
once in a
No,
while,
nothing like
once
that.
in a while there'll be one kid, and you'll say that kid just like all the Americans we deal with. He's got an attitude, and we love our country.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
And the kids here, they're just so eager to accept teaching and learning, and it's really easy.
So they're
to
not
do.
combating with you guys and saying, now you're wrong, or
No. I mean, luckily, I think we've got enough experience that at least we sound like we know what we're doing when we teach it.
Yeah.
And there's no one, so we're giving them, and like I said, they're really just like sponges.
yeah, they're just absorbing everything and they're wanting to learn, right? That's why they're there.
Yeah, usually you're not going to get kids that the parents said, oh, I want to get rid of you for a week, go to basketball camp. Usually
Right.
it's the kids saying, I'd like to go
I'd like to go. Now, you had mentioned before the show you have somebody from Turkey there.
Yeah, there's someone in town who's got 2 cousins of his that are from Turkey.
Wow.
They're Kurt, who's on the town council.
Okay, yeah.
And so they're going to be going. There's a friend of theirs from Montreal that's here. Last year, one of the girls had her cousins from Iceland that were here. And it is sort of neat that while you're here, if there's something going on, you could add to it during the week.
Yeah, and I mean that's sort of that brotherhood and fraternity or
Yeah.
sorority or whatever you want to call it sort of helps them to develop also, right? Because they're learning
Correct.
friendship and different types of
thing.
things like
Yeah.
that. That's just awesome. So now again, if anybody wants to call in, we're waiting for your calls. I'm begging you for some calls here. 855-529-8826. See, we're already halfway through the show.
It went by like
That's
a
flown by.
dream.
Do we have somebody, Patrick? We can go to break. Okay, you guys want to take a break?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll towel down a bit. Maybe we'll run around and we'll give ourselves a break. So we'll take a quick break, and you're right back with Rob Patry, Brandon Sherrod, and Joe Ticotsky. All right, I think we're back. You know what? I have a sense. I can tell when I'm back. You know what I wish? See, if I had planned this better, I would have had a basketball right now just sort of spinning on my finger.
Oh, that would've been
So you
cool.
could have, wouldn't that have been cool?
That would've been cool.
But you see, I don't know how to do that.
Oh, no.
But I bet you do.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Now, is that one of the things you teach the kids how to do that?
It's
Oh,
actually,
by the way, you know what? I cut you right off again because I want to
Oh, no
mention your
worries.
names again. Brandon Sherrod and Joe Ticotsky from Basketball by the Sea.
Yes.
That sounds nice. That
Very
sounds so
scenic name.
romantic, doesn't
It does.
You know? What else do you want to do by the sea but play basketball? Okay, sorry. You know what? See, something pops in my head,
No
Brandon,
worries.
and I'm lost.
No
I'm
worries,
gone.
no worries.
Okay, so you're going to teach me how to do that.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time. I actually learned how to do it on my own, and it just takes a lot of repetition and a lot
Does
of
it?
failure. And
Do you break a lot of nails?
no, in some cases you do,
Right.
or you jam your finger a few times. But,
Really?
yeah, you can get the hang of it.
Do you ever, Did you hurt yourself a lot doing this?
Well, I did jam a few fingers when I first started out, but I have pretty big hands, so I'm able to like spin the ball with one and then catch it with my
No, but I mean,
fingers,
did you ever get like a torn ligament or
from doing that?
Knees, hard on the knees.
No. But the game is really very tough.
It
is.
A
lot of stress on your body.
Like I have heard over the years that it's actually worse than football, worse than, like it's a tough game.
Yeah.
And you're just out there more or less naked.
Basically.
Well, not really, not literally, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You got no armor on you.
Right.
And these guys you're trying to kill you.
Yeah, I think people forget that basketball is very physical.
Yes.
I don't know if I could say it's as physical as like you're banging into people like in hockey or football, but it's a very physical sport. And you're right. There's no armor, no protection, no padding. You just kind of go with it.
So as I'm talking to you, you're thinking, why am I even doing
Right,
this?
Exactly. It's like I'm putting myself in danger every single time I go out to play.
So have you ever been, okay, so how are the knees?
They're good. I mean, it's a
You're
lot
not,
of
you're not what I'd call an old man.
No,
you haven't been
I'm
doing this
young.
for like a long time.
It's my second year playing professionally, so
Yeah.
hopefully I can keep it going for the next few years. But it's all about maintenance and taking care of yourself, and that might be something that we will talk to the kids about during this week of camp, and just like what it takes to
warming up.
Yeah, warming up and how important that is, cooling down and stretching after you work out. Yeah, diet, things like that. It's there's a lot that goes into the game, and people are more aware of that now. Back in the day, it was just lace up your shoes and let's go play.
Right.
But now it's really taking a hands-on approach to practicing, to playing, and also just how to maintain your body over a long period of time.
And this is something that if they learn, which they do, they can apply to everything.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to know.
Not just for basketball, but literally just for longevity.
And do you guys talk about diet at the camp?
We haven't.
We haven't now.
But it might be.
But I mean, it might be a
suggestion. I'm going to throw out that you put that in the suggestion box.
It definitely affects
tell
the
the
way you
kids,
feel.
go easy on the hot dogs and the pizza.
So we shouldn't be opening with the Tim Hortons?
No.
Okay.
And a bucket of KFC. No, Joe. This is, and don't tell people about how great the pizza is in New Haven.
Yes.
Because that's what you told me.
It is. That is a little known fact that New Haven is actually considered one of the premier pizza capitals in the world. There's a big Italian population, and it's famous for thin crust pizza.
Right.
So it's sort of misshapen and a little burnt on the edges, and it's phenomenal.
Wow. Now, is that one of those deals where you could ship me one? Because see, right to Calais, Maine, and then I could go over the bridge and pick it up.
I do think they do something where they half bake it.
Right.
And they send it out. Some of the places do that. I mean,
right.
It's probably not the same as when you're there.
No.
If you're down,
but I got to come down.
We'll treat you to a pizza.
Yeah, really?
We will.
Can I get you? I'm going to get you to sign something here because these things never happen. They never follow through.
I never said that.
Right, I know. But see, this is the beauty of having a TV show, and it's repeated over and over again, and all they hear is Joe Ticotsky saying, "Next time you come, there's a free pizza waiting for you."
We've invited all the people up here, no one to come down to Connecticut, but and it's only been a couple years, but we'd love to have any of the, the people that I've got to know through coaching and playing, to have them come down and sort of see what Connecticut is like, because it's centrally located. As I mentioned before the show to you, we are halfway between New York and Boston.
Yeah.
So you get on a train in New Haven, and in 90 minutes you're in Times Square.
And I know
City.
folks from around here are constantly either going to the Red Sox game or the Patriots games. Probably the Patriots games less, because probably tickets are
tougher,
astronomical to buy. But I know guys are going to Red Sox games all the time. So Connecticut would be closer than Boston?
New Haven's about 2 hours from Boston.
2 hours from Boston. Yeah, 2.5.
About an hour and a half from New York.
Okay. Yeah. So that's worth the drive for a good pizza.
Oh, definitely.
It definitely is.
And what else can I get down there? Food? Because I love food.
What else can you get down
What else can you get? Everything.
Well, there's a big Hispanic community there, and you have a number of there's an area called Long Wharf, and there are a number of food trucks there. You can get a lot of Latin American food. So we're talking about Mexican food, Cuban, all that. Yeah,
Thai food,
a lot of Thai food. Yes, actually, New Haven, fun fact, has the most restaurants per square mile in the country. They're really packed in.
Really?
So, yeah.
Now, you live in Bridgeport.
I live in Bridgeport. Currently, this summer I've been living in New Haven, training there up at Yale.
Now, what's the distance between
Bridgeport and New Haven,
Yeah.
about 30, 35
Okay,
minutes.
so it's relatively close.
Very close.
Now, okay, here's a question I got to ask because I don't know.
Sure.
So don't get mad at me.
Sure, no
Is
problem.
Yale in Connecticut?
Yes,
See, I didn't even know
it's
that.
in New Haven. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that bad that I don't know that?
No. I mean, it's a little known fact. I think people think it's in like New York or
Yeah, I
like
didn't know where it
bigger
was.
place.
I mean, I know, and I know it's like a big deal. Where's Harvard? That's in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts,
So
yes.
the two big schools are in New England.
Right.
Is Connecticut New England? I don't even
Yes,
know that.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
See, I do know more than I think.
One of the 6 New England states.
So is your big rival school Harvard?
Yes. Small rival school,
But Yale's way better.
of course.
Much better.
I would say
It's
I
a
don't-
given.
Yeah, infinitely better. No.
Infinitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Okay, so it's known for. Okay, so but now you want to run as mayor
Sure.
of Bridgeport.
Of Bridgeport,
See, now I
Connecticut.
know we're not talking about basketball completely, but you two guys are fascinating.
Thank you.
Well, you are, because I mean, here you are playing basketball in Italy, but you want to be mayor here in Bridgeport, which is near you, which has the best pizza anywhere.
It does.
Yeah.
See, right there's a story.
Connection.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you come up here to teach basketball.
The circle of life.
It is.
It is.
See, you know what's? You're blowing my mind because I'm thinking about all these things, and I'm thinking, geez, these are two interesting guys that I should have on my show.
And to be honest, we even talked to the kids about that, of sort of getting out, and like I've met so many people and traveled so many places just from the game of basketball. His example is phenomenal of how many places he's gone. The third coach of ours, who we haven't mentioned, Melissa Teal. She's an English teacher at a high school about an hour from New Haven. She played for us when she was in high school. She's a world traveler. Every summer she goes somewhere. She's Peru and England and France, and she's all over. It's her first time in Canada. And we say to the kids, that's sort of what you want to get out of life, is explore the world out there. And if you can do it through sport, that makes it a lot better.
Right. Now, Melissa was supposed to come on tonight. Or,
Yes.
well, we had talked about it.
Yes.
But we only have 2 chairs.
We only had 2 chairs.
Yeah.
She was the rookie, so.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you made the decision, Melissa.
was
Or
his.
was
was
me?
it
Oh,
yours?
wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Brandon, it was your
I
decision.
had no clue.
Really? So it has nothing to do with you.
No, nothing to do with me at all.
Well, it would be great to hear from her. If you're listening, Melissa, call us in at 855-529-8826 if you're watching this show, which I assume she is.
She is back in the hotel watching
Watching
the
it
show.
right now,
Yes.
enjoying. You know what? She's probably enjoying it so much she hasn't even been able to think to pick up the phone and call us. Just like everyone else, they're mesmerized by the entire show. Okay, so we've talked about the basketball. Is there anything else I should know?
You have to ask him about his singing.
Right.
Oh.
Now, okay. So this is, okay, so you're a multi-talented guy, obviously. You play basketball, and you love to cook, you told
Sure,
me.
I do. Yes.
And you live in Italy. Now, where do you live? In an apartment? Okay, see, I'm already on a tangent.
Yeah.
Okay, in an apartment in Italy?
Yeah, so the way it works, and one of the really nice perks of playing abroad, is that they take care of your housing, your car, and then in my last spot.
Now,
they
don't tell
actually-
me they give you like a Lamborghini. Or,
No, unfortunately,
Okay.
it was a really funny story. So I was driving a Fiat last year, a Fiat L, which is like still pretty small for a guy like me. I'm about 6'6". But when I went to go pick up the
You
car,
should play basketball.
I know, there you go. So when I went to go pick up the car, they had a number of different, like very foreign, nice vehicles. So I'm walking in, I'm like, wow. Am I going to take the Lamborghini for a spin? Is the Ferrari going to be mine today?
Wow.
And unfortunately, they were like, oh, here's your Fiat over here. Here's
Right.
the keys. Like, get out of here. So maybe one day that'll be the case.
Right.
Or I can buy one on my own. But yeah, so they take care of your housing, your car. They took care of my meals last time I was out in Italy. So it's a really, really nice perk.
And then, okay, so do you have an apartment?
Yes, I do. That the team gives me. Yeah. So
One bedroom?
Yeah. A nice I had
Kitchen?
I had a studio last year with the kitchen.
So you don't have to share it with like 6 guys?
No, I had
It's
to have
your
my own.
place.
Yeah. So we'll see what the setup is next year.
And how did you hear about Italy?
Well, my agent took care of
You have
all
an
of
agent?
I do have an agent. Yep, he takes care
I
of
need
all of that.
Can I get his name?
Yeah, well, Matt Slan, if you're out there, I want to shout out my agency, Slan Sports Management. But he took care of that and got me there. And after signing the contract, that was, a part of.
So he
signed.
takes care of everything.
He's the
You
man.
go
He
play
takes.
basketball.
I play basketball. I perform well on the court, and then he goes and tries to find me another place to go play.
Now, when you go over there with your suitcases
Yeah.
and stuff, do you have a ball?
I don't bring a ball with me. They
You don't.
provide all the basketballs and.
But do you have a
the
favorite
practice
ball
gear.
at home?
I do have. So I like the FIBA basketballs. They're a little bit smaller, depending on what style you use.
Right.
And they feel a lot better in my hands because I have pretty big hands, so it's nice to kind of have a little bit more control of the ball. And they're not as slick as some of the brand new basketballs that we use in the States. But if it's not a FIBA ball, it might be a Wilson basketball, like a collegiate one that we've
Right.
used in the past, like dark brown, like really good grooves, and once it's broken in, it's like one of the best basketballs.
One of the
you
best
can
balls
use.
around.
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe we have a call. We have
Oh, look at
Melissa.
that.
Melissa, are you there? Melissa.
Hi.
Hi. Can we hear Melissa? You're on the air. Do you know these two characters here, Melissa?
I do.
Okay,
They're
so
doing a great job.
what's that? They're doing a great
they're
job.
doing a great
So
job.
do you have a question for them, Melissa?
I do. What was the most exciting game of basketball you guys have either ever watched or played?
Wow.
The most exciting game of basketball. I went to the University of Connecticut.
Okay.
And they won their first national championship over Duke in 1999. And actually, my college roommate and I, who were out by then, we were at the game. So I would say that was probably my sporting highlight as a spectator.
Right.
Wow.
And Brandon, what about
He's got to have a
you?
playing
For
one, I
me,
think.
I have two. So my playing one was we were playing against Baylor in the NCAA tournament when we made it my last year of college, and getting to March Madness is a dream for every basketball player who
Right.
plays Division I
course,
sports. And, we actually beat Baylor, and I got to seal the game with the last two free throws. So that was like dream come true. I'm on the free throw line, like it's everything I practiced for, and like outside in the parking lot, just shooting free throws. Like, these are the last two to sink the game. Like, you got it. So I made those two free throws, and we won. And that was the first time we had a win in school history in the NCAA tournament. So that was really cool. Spectating, I watched Tracy McGrady score. I think it was like 16 points in like 20 seconds to beat the San Antonio Spurs. And that was probably one of the most exciting games I'd ever seen, like single-handedly by
Right.
himself, just coming down, shooting threes and ones. And they won the game in 20 seconds. They were like down, I don't know, like 12 or something like that.
Wow.
And he just, 14, and he ended up killing it.
Awesome.
So,
Now,
yeah.
Melissa, I have a question for you. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, so is this your first time in Canada?
This is my first time in Canada.
And have you been enjoying it so far?
I love it. It's beautiful.
Oh, good. And then you're coaching the kids here as well?
Yes.
So how come you're not on the show tonight?
Ask Joe.
There you
But see, Joe Blaine, okay, so Joe says, when I asked Joe said ask Brandon that it was his decision to sort of throw you overboard.
It's okay. They're doing a great job.
They're
The camera
doing a
loves
great
them.
job. Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you weren't here, and next year we'll make sure you're here. So one of these two has to go, so I think it'll be Joe. Because Brandon's a lot funnier, and he's got a lot more interesting stories. And he's invited me to come and visit him at his pad in Italy.
It's true.
Nice.
Anyway, thank you so much for calling, Melissa. As I said to them, welcome to Canada, welcome to New Brunswick, and welcome to St. Andrews.
Thank you.
Oh, you take care now.
We'll see you in a little while, Melissa.
Okay, well that's great. So she's doing the same thing that you're doing, Brandon?
Yes, yep. She's going to be assisting with providing kids little tidbits that they can take back with them. And I think she'll, we'll also be evening each other out just with the responsibilities. It would be impossible for me to be working with 25 kids in the morning. So I think Melissa will do a great job. And she also has done some coaching as well.
Okay.
So,
And what's her background?
So I think Joe can probably speak to it better than I can since he was coaching her for a long time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
She played at Western Connecticut State University. It's a Division III school, and she improved so much. She's 6'2", so it's a tall crew of
Right.
coaches here.
Because you're what, 5'2"?
5'10", 5'10".
That wasn't very nice. Well, see, sometimes they say,
Don't
and I
forget that
apologize.
pizza offer.
I know, I apologize.
And her senior year in college was a Division III All-American. and the improvement she made was phenomenal. And she's just like such a good person. Nice, I call her kid, but she's 27 now.
Right.
And she just is the best, so we're happy to have her here.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, did either of you happen to bring me a gift?
You know what? I did.
Because I figured, well, if I don't ask, you'll forget, and then I won't get any.
We had to ask if it was okay to bring a gift, so.
Okay, you had to ask who if it was okay to bring a gift.
No one, it just sounded good.
All right. Well, here's my gift. Well, it feels heavy. Oh, I like this. Oh, Jesus, a giant. Well, it's a huge coffee mug.
A Connecticut mug.
A Connecticut mug.
It's got all.
Now, which camera should I show this on? Doug, or you? See? Right over here, number 3. 3, 2. There it is.
It's
okay,
got all
there.
the cities
There it is.
and all
okay,
the...
so it's got everywhere where I've got to go
That's
the
true.
next time I. Oh, see, now I'm dying to come, because there's all sorts of fascinating and interesting places to go. Geez, that's a huge mug.
It's good for winter soup up here.
True.
That's true. Yeah, it's like I have my soup in here. Well, thank you very much. That was very kind of you. You know what? I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a new trend for all future guests coming on the show. And you don't have to be from Connecticut. You don't have to be from another country. You can be right here from New Brunswick. But it's always nice to bring the host a gift, I think. That's my own and even gift wrapped it for me. So it's very nice, thank you. Okay, now we're going to take another break, and we're actually going to ask both of you to leave.
Okay.
Now, is there
But
any?
he's going to have to sing next time.
Oh, you got to. Oh, you know what you did? Okay, you know what? You got a few minutes.
I'll sing a brief, all that I know of the Canadian national anthem.
You're going to sing a part of the Canadian national anthem.
Yeah, I only know,
Do
like,
we
the
have
first-
to stand for that? We
No,
should.
I don't know. Should we? I don't.
But you know what? I don't
No,
wear. You know what? I don't wear pants under here,
I
so
forgot.
I can't really stand. But please favor us
Quickly.
with a bit of a song of the Canadian. So this is Brandon Sherrod singing a cappella part of the Canadian national anthem.
There we go. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot's blood, in all our hearts commands. I don't know the rest. but
Okay, you know
there
it was
go.
amazing. You really hit
Thank
those
you.
high notes.
I had to go for it. I mean, yeah, here we are.
You know, okay, well, thank you very much. Nobody's ever come on here and sang for me, so I appreciate that, and singing our song. I appreciate that. Brandon Sherrod and Joe Ticotsky from Basketball by the Sea. Thank you, gentlemen, very, very much.
Thank you
It
for
was
having
a
us.
real
Great to have
pleasure.
us.
Thank you.
Likewise.
And we'll Okay, you're back with Rob Patry live after a short break. Again, thank you to Brandon Sherrod and Joe Ticotsky from Basketball by the Sea. And they got me this giant coffee mug that'll keep me shaking and up for days. So thank you very much, gentlemen. It was an absolute pleasure to have you here. Now, we have another guest tonight. Anybody watches the show know that I often have as a guest your son. This is Tim Henderson. Well, what's your son's name?
Brad.
Brad, that's the guy. My nemesis.
Okay.
Well, he's not really my nemesis, but he's been on the show a few times.
Yes, he has.
He's talking about Kingsbury or other
Many
things.
different hats.
Many different hats, because he's the
Deputy mayor.
deputy mayor. Thank you. You know what? My mind's gone.
I'm reading your mind.
Tim, thank you. I appreciate that. Because by the end of the show, it's all been basketball and Connecticut. Now here you come.
I was watching some. That was
What
that
did
was
you
really.
think?
I
Was
thought it was
fun?
great.
Did you learn anything?
Well, I thought this nice gift.
Wasn't that wonderful?
Nice
Now,
voice. Great singer.
Isn't he unbelievable?
I'll do neither.
Yeah. Now, did you bring me a gift?
No,
Tim?
I said no gift, no
Why?
singing. Well, I only have
just
5
said
minutes.
I
If you
need-
gave me half an hour, maybe.
Oh, right. Okay, we're going to have you back. Okay, now we're here to talk about Broadway and beyond.
And beyond, yes.
Now, what's this all about?
Well, Kingsbury Garden is doing a fundraiser for the Charlotte County Hospital Foundation We looked at several charities, and we decided that perhaps it's time that we got involved with the health element in the county. We've been involved in everything from social to cultural, but we thought that our next fundraiser would try to help out with the health end of it with Charlotte County Hospital.
Charlotte County Hospital.
So Robert
Fantastic.
Pilon is on Saturday night, August 12th, 7:30.
That's this coming Saturday.
Right. We're doing a show with Robert Pilon, and he is just a phenomenal singer. He comes out of Toronto, but he's internationally known. He's starred in things like as Phantom in Phantom of the Opera, Jean Valjean in Les Miserables. He's been in that lead role.
Right.
So he's a very accomplished singer, and he's bringing some of his friends down here to Little Charlotte County to put on a benefit.
Fantastic.
And all the proceeds, it's $40 a ticket.
Yeah.
All proceeds go directly to the hospital. And we're certainly hoping people come out and support it.
Now that's going to be at Kingsbury Garden.
At Kingsbury Garden in the tent.
Okay, so you'll be covered if it rains. You're not going to
Rain or shine, we'll be doing it. And you'll be covered. And we also, at the same time, the show is $40, but if you want to come early, that's at 7:30. We're putting on a small plate aperitif with Chef Han of all what he's learned in Italy. And that's for $30. So the value there is beyond the show itself.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to come anywhere between 6 and 7:30 to eat before the show, it'd be a fantastic night out for
that's
you
like
and yours.
like you said right here. It's like going out to a Broadway show, isn't it?
It is. He is
I mean,
phenomenal.
and Chef Han is one of the best chefs, as far as I'm concerned, in Canada. Yeah. So, and the food is phenomenal. And then with Mr. Pilon, you're going to get a fantastic time.
Yeah. No, we're looking forward to having a good time. But we really need people to support it. We need them to support their hospital. We all know that Charlotte County Hospital needs everyone's support.
Yep.
And by helping the foundation, you're certainly helping the hospital. So we certainly hope anyone who can come out to it. They'll see a fantastic show. And if they want to treat themselves or their better half, they certainly can come out and for the meal before, because it's certainly going to be spectacular.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, just to say that, as Tim was saying, just going out for a night out on the town, for dinner, Chef Alex Han, who's been on our show, did a fantastic meal. This guy's an incredible chef. Kingsbury Garden is a beautiful, beautiful spot. And to sit and listen to some of this music, I'm sure is going to be a fantastic night. And as Tim says, you are supporting something that needs our help. Charlotte County Hospital is very important to all of us. And it's something that we must help and support. So please get out there and do it.
Tickets at the Scotiabank St. Andrews, Scotiabank St. Stephen.
Right.
And they are matching our funds. So in other words, that $40 doubles when you buy your ticket. So $80
fantastic.
for every ticket sold goes to the hospital foundation.
Okay, that's amazing, Tim. Well, thank you very much for coming out and talking about it. I wish you had brought me a gift, because if you had, I'd give you another half hour.
I did bring you a flyer.
You did, and I do appreciate that. Here it is. And, we can talk about that, but we'll put something also on our Facebook page about this. So get out there and support it. Thank you very much for watching Rob Patry Live. Are we almost out of time, or am I early, Patrick? I'm good? Okay, well, thank you very much to all my guests. Again, Brandon Sherrod, Joe Ticotsky from Basketball by the Sea, the great Tim Henderson, father of the OK Brad Henderson, and supporting a great, great function at Kingsbury Garden, Broadway and beyond. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks, folks. Good night.